Hi, I'm Brent Kerr, and this is my ePortfolio Highlight video. I am the Applied Technology Instructor at Ness City High School. Often I get asked what the Applied Technology Instructor does. I teach construction, I teach plumbing, heating, and air, electrical, drafting, cabinet making, those sort of classes. Some personal information on me. Like I said, I'm the applied technology teacher at USD 303. This is actually the high school I graduated from, so that's kind of a neat thing. Sometimes it's neat, sometimes it presents some challenges. I have 4 kids and a wife, 3 girls and 1 boy. We like to kayak in our free time. Hopefully when I get through with this, I'll have a little bit more time for kayaking. I also enjoy hunting, fishing, and any time I can spend with my family. We own a small farm about 6 miles east of Ness City. We have 25 red Angus cows, a great big garden, and my kids have just talked me into chickens, so that's kind of a new experience for us. My educational background: graduated from Ness City High School, Bachelor of Science and Technology Studies and Secondary Education at Fort Hays State University, and my master's degree is pending, Building Leadership at FHSU. My personal goals for 1 to 5 years: grow my cow herd, complete all the remodel projects I have around the house that I've started. My wife, I'm sure, would like me to finish those. And I'd also like to send my oldest 2 kids off to some sort of post-secondary education. Maybe with a little luck, send them right over to Fort Hays. 5 to 10 years, continue with the family farm, grow the cow herd and the farm. We'd like to build a house out at the farm, and in that 5 to 10 years, I'll have another kiddo ready for post-secondary ed. 10 plus years, we'd send the youngest off to some sort of post-secondary ed, and I'd like to prepare for retirement. As far as my professional goals go, I'd like to continue growing my CTE program here in Ness City. I've started a tiny house program. I've got 8 other schools that have built tiny houses with me this last year, 7 of those in the state of Kansas, 1 other one in Wisconsin. We've got buyers for those, and I just think it's been an excellent opportunity for my kids. I'd like to see it be a good opportunity for students all over the place. In 5 to 10 years, I'd like to work myself into a principal position either at my current high school or a district within 30 miles of where I'm at, and work towards my superintendent certification. That 10 plus years, I'd like to secure a superintendent position at my local district or within 30 miles, and continue to prepare for retirement. Why Fort Hays State? Cost was a big factor, although USD 303 did pay for a good portion of my tuition. Last year, after I pretty much had my coursework completed, they did negotiate for 100% reimbursement, but they did me good. I can't complain about that at all. The other thing was familiarity. I knew Fort Hays, I knew Blackboard, so being familiar with some of those things eased my mind a bit. So that's the reason I chose Fort Hays. Expectations: considering the all I lack of finishing this practicum is, or the whole degree is my practicum, it's hard to say what my expectations were in the beginning. That was a long time ago. But to this point, I expect to graduate with a master's degree. And even if I don't ever become a principal, I know this has helped me a lot in the classroom. I know I became a better teacher just going through this coursework. My leadership philosophy: situational leadership. That's Ken Blanchard. Is kind of the father of situational leadership. I'm not sure that every situation, one leadership style works best for every situation, so that's part of the reason I chose situational leader. Any leader needs to have a positive influence, and I think that all of a leader's goals in a school need to be student-driven. I think that the situational leadership works well with students and staff both. Go ahead and move on to my resume. The one thing might be a little different about my resume than a lot. I actually took a short time off. I was a banker for 3 years. I was a loan officer at a local bank. I was in charge of all of the bank's collateral and all of our appraisal work. I did all the in-house appraisal work for that bank, as well as doing some loan work. So that's one thing. I do have a bit of a business background. That's something that's a little different. Um, I am glad that I'm back in education. Sometimes it takes going away from something to realize that you love it. So it was definitely good to get back when my old position came back open. I was on top of that. I was really ready to come back. Annotated bibliography, we'll go through this just really quickly. I think I've got 28 pages of annotated bibliography. There's a tremendous amount of work in this. I did it in a short amount of time, but I spent a lot of time in that short amount of time doing this. The resources here are excellent. I know this is something that I will reference in the future, and something that I hope to add to anytime I find something good. I think it'd be great to put into this document and grow this document. Move on to my district activities. So mission and vision, this might seem like a stretch, but I really don't think it is. An administrator will develop and carry out and communicate the mission. I think for any district to carry out their mission, their students have to feel safe. So that's why I chose this. We have a crisis team or a crisis committee at our school, and they've done an excellent job preparing us for any type of situation that may come up. On the right-hand side, you'll see that picture. That's of a flip chart that they created, and there's just any type of situation that you might think in there, and just some tips, some guidelines. Especially for a new teacher, this is an excellent resource. So I chose that because I do think to carry out your mission, your students and staff both have to feel safe at school. This next one was professional norms, ethics and professional norms. So at one point, after we had built our first and second tiny house, we had accumulated a pretty fair amount of money. So we built our first house, had enough money to pay for and build the second house. So by the time we had our second house sold, we were sitting on top of $30,000. So there was a little bit of a budget issue. There was a few things that the school board wasn't quite sure of, and they wondered if maybe they could use some of that money to fill in some gaps. My superintendent did an excellent job of basically stating that any money that is earned by students will be spent on students. So there was no question where that money was going to be spent. And it was pretty cool. When that happened, my students got to pick out almost $30,000 worth of equipment for our shop. So on the right, you'll see a video of our CNC router. That's just been an excellent addition to the shop, and something that the kids have just picked up on and love to use. So I think it's very important for an administrator to be supportive of any funds that are accumulated by students. Here's another one that was a big deal for me. Those three boys presented to the board. They were asking for $20,000 or $25,000 to build that first tiny house, and our superintendent and principal both supported that big time. These kids came and told them about how much money they needed. They told them about their budget. They told them about their marketing plan, and just really hit it out of the park. Anyhow, I didn't get a picture of them presenting. I was just as nervous for those boys as those boys were presenting, so we had to get a picture outside in the parking lot afterwards. Go over here and move on to elementary. So this first slide, the school leader will evaluate school culture. So you see a high school student reading with a elementary school student. I think that this is a big thing. Our superintendent and principal realized that getting those kids together is great. First off, the elementary school student has somebody to look up to in that high school student, and that high school student then has a younger student, a littler kid looking up to them. So I don't know how many times just in the hallway we had talked about this, but just a lot of the high school kids said things like, well, I made my decision because I didn't want this younger student that I read to, I didn't want that to change their opinion of me. So that pressure I think is good pressure for those high school students. This is another one that deals with relationships, student learning. The activity was actually at the elementary school. The district leadership team discussed relationships, and that's one of the things we made one of our KISA goals. I didn't have a great picture of that, so I did go ahead and post this picture. This is my Eagle family, or part of my Eagle family. That group of students actually helped deliver a tiny house to Leadville, Colorado, and I knew some excellent fishing around there, so I took those boys and the one girl fishing, and we caught a stringer of trout there, you can see, and flayed all those fish and cleaned them up that evening and ate them. It was just an excellent time to build those relationships with those students. Family engagement night. This is something that we've been trying to do. The school leaders have allowed the staff to come up with these family engagement nights at the elementary school. At this one, you see them playing board games. So basically, those students that came got to draw for a door prize of a board game. So they got to play the game at the family engagement night, and then also got to move along and bring that video game or that board game home to their family. So it was kind of a win-win there. Last on this one is kind of our COVID planning at the elementary school. That was a big deal. Our district leadership team met and discussed COVID before I think it was really on anybody's radar, what might happen, and kind of plan for the worst. I don't know that we did a perfect job, but I think we did a pretty fair job of planning for COVID. So that's actually a picture of my daughter doing some homework during the COVID deal. Secondary, the school leader will support use of differentiated context-based instructional materials and strategies. This is a group of kids on the right. You can see those guys are at a Golden Belt Telephone central office discussing fiber to the home and how that all works. Move on to the master schedule. This one's important to me. I think our principal does an excellent job of trying to get students in every class that they want to be in, and with as small a staff as we have, that's tough to do. So I'm just really impressed with how hard he works to make that master schedule what it is. And then last is CTE. The school leader will evaluate schools, professional staff, and capacity and needs. Ness City High School is not going to graduate 100% students who are ready for a four-year school. So pushing those career and technical education classes is a big thing. Of course, that's near and dear to my heart because I am a CTE teacher. But I think that Ness City does an excellent job of trying to offer as many CTE courses as we can. So that is my highlight video. I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen and look forward to our talk in the future. Thanks. Bye.